All right, everyone, welcome back into another live stream. Got you guys covered here with the Flex Friday slips, hopefully. Got a few good prop bets for NBA as it sits right now, but also want to be touching on a little bit of sleeper as well. Okay, so I think I should start there talking about sleeper. I want to mention that I added that into the 9 to 5 tools just for now for college basketball specifically, working on NBA. Hopefully, I'll have that done today as well. So, I do want to start with that because we are getting some protected picks that we could potentially use on sleeper. And so let's go ahead and start there. So, going to be starting out with sleeper, and then I'll be getting into some Flex Friday slips for prize picks. Obviously, I'm hoping that we get some more discounts throughout the day. Yesterday was fun with all the discounts that were released on all the various sites, and I would imagine that we would, but also Flex Friday protected picks, that's going to happen. So, again, I just added this into the 9 to 5 cheat sheet. It's more of a bonus tool, a tool I could make available to you guys. It's not like an official tool on the 9 to 5 site, but it is available right now for college basketball. We are getting about a decent amount, one, two, three, four, five, six, about six really good prop bets as it says right now. Eric Gaines for under his points, 12.5. We got Noah for under his points at 11.5, and then we got Steven Crowell for under his points at 12.5. So we have three really decent prop bets here for college basketball. That's actually what I used. I will say I didn't exactly want to use Crowell just by looking at the projection data. Um, the projection data likes the unders for the first two a little bit better. This one's okay as well for Smith for over points. So I just want to call that out. If you guys want to use that, by all means, go for it. If not, that makes sense. So let's go ahead and switch and get into a little bit more prize picks now. Obviously, Flex Friday, we want to be concentrated on the best prop bets that we can place here. And so these four that we are getting right now for NBA, I'm perfectly happy to go ahead and use. So we got Trey Jones for over fantasy score. We got Josh Giddey for over fantasy score. And then we got Dort for over fantasy score as well. So I do like those a decent amount. I'm just trying to get caught up on some questions as well, comments. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer those. But I do want this to be kind of a quick, easy video, 30-minute video or so, just kind of touching on the best prop bets that we have. Just kind of reading some. Okay, so yeah, so yesterday was interesting. Just jumping into some comments, and I'll get into that a little bit more. So, Icy Glass here says that he smashed a 5 slip bet yesterday, which is pretty awesome to see. Yesterday was a weird day in terms of it was just a volume day where I I had a couple of bad beats on underdog, which was one of the better the days that I gave you guys. It was Ryan Kalkbrenner and then Didi Grant, both pretty unlucky that they got that their unders didn't hit. Both happened like late in the game. Both happened in bunches. Like Didi Grant had 4 free throws at the end of the game when he was inbounding the ball. Like that was kind of crazy. But then later on in the day, I forget who it was. It was for Oakland. It was not the 3-ball shooter. It was the point guard. Had him over 9.5 points. Basically, that 3 that he hit at the end of the game, that was very lucky, it felt like, but that ended up helping out as well. Interesting here. So PrizePicks not giving the flex pick here. That's interesting. Anyone else having that where they're not getting any picks? That is kind of interesting. I know they've been doing some different stuff PrizePicks has, but that's kind of interesting. But let's jump back into the board again. Trying to give you guys a Flex Friday slip. I already gave you guys the sleeper slip here. But yeah, looking at Trey Jones, Josh Giddey, and Dort for over their fantasy score. Now, we're not getting that many prop bets just yet for NBA as a whole, but obviously that's not going to be as concentrated today. Do you want to call Josh Giddey has been playing really well lately, and he's going against Toronto, which a pretty easy matchup. That's a matchup that I haven't been staying away from, but you'll see the one matchup where he hasn't gotten the over was against Memphis. And so who's going against Memphis today? Well, that's going to be Trey Jones. So there is a slight worry, I guess, there, but Trey Jones has really been going off. And so I think we're perfectly happy to run out Trey Jones for over his fantasy score. Again, we are looking at these prop bets in a flex slip, so we're kind of fine with that. And then Dort as well does kind of correlate with the Toronto matchup. His lines have been a little bit tighter, but I think we're okay to run those out. So with that, let's go ahead now and jump into some more college basketball. So let's see here. Which slide is it on? So college basketball wise, guys, we are gaining a lot of good EV bets. And so I typically just with March Madness, I just see it as more of a volume day where, and I'm not encouraging people to place more bets than they typically would or more bets than they're more comfortable with. But I have seen March Madness over the past, well, now 2 years where Obviously, not all the bets are going to hit. That's just going to happen. But if you just like go down the list and kind of just different times and whatnot, it's hard for Underdog and PrizePicks to keep up with all these lines. They're not used to it. They're not used to putting out lines for college basketball, especially this amount. So we typically are getting some decent edges here. So I do think it's worth calling out that, yeah, we are getting some decent prop bets right now. I mean, 57.75 for an edge here for Don McHenry. That is seemingly a good prop bet. Now, I haven't even looked at this one just yet. Let's go in and see Don here. And some of these are going live shortly. I probably should start out with, I know there's, after this one, I'll show you guys another one here. So his rebounds, we can see for the most part, he has been crushing those overs. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this game log is accurate. Like, was he out or not? That's something I want to warn you against. I do want to call it another thing here on the popular tab. The first prop bet that's popping up the most. I'm not saying that's a bad one. No, it's not popping up. Well, the top one, it was like 7 points for the guy. The game log in there's wrong, just as an FY. So just be cautious about that. But yeah, real quickly, I want to show you guys some of those the fantasy score prop bets that are starting right now, because there was kind of a decent middling opportunity between PrizePicks and Underdog, and that's going to be here for Dennis here, where we are seeing a decent prop line difference. You know, it's 27.5 on PrizePicks, and then on Underdog 29.95, and obviously the outlier here is going to be PrizePicks, so that's seemingly going to be the better bet. But if you guys want to run the middle, it's not a terrible idea as well. PJ Hall is going to be kind of the exact same thing, where we're seeing at 29.5 on PrizePicks. That's probably the better line that we are getting. But based off of the average sportsbook line, that one probably has a good chance to middle as well. So we are getting two middles that I wanted to call out for you guys. So that's a good one. This is funny comment. Really wish D.D. Grant was a bad free throw shooter. I really wish BYU would have just fouled the first guy that got the ball both times. And what's weird is I don't think they counted his turnover at the end of the game, although it didn't matter. But I don't think they counted his turnover. Again, it didn't matter. But like, I'm more mad at BYU for just not instantly following instead of letting the best free throw shooter on the team get the basketball twice at the end of the game. That was tilting. But again, that stuff's going to happen. It corrected itself out later that day. I will be touching on Underdog here. Okay. So, yeah, we'll be touching on that. We got Mike here saying that Mac was a lucky under push, sort of. I mean, that kind of just goes to say, like, the bad beats that occurred early in the day yesterday kind of corrected itself. I will say this was a prop bet that I had on Sleeper with one of the discounts, so I was very happy for that one to hit. It was 13.5. And again, those little differences do add up. So I did want to call that out. Icy Glass, yeah. So, yeah, that's what we're pulling in here. We're pulling in the average sportsbook lines here from like several different sportsbooks. So that's where we're getting those lines. So I don't know which sportsbook you're looking at, but this could be one where maybe one sportsbook really has him at like 170, where it's pushing the data up to minus 160 on average. That could be, but yeah, it's a good bet regardless. Let's see here. This is an interesting one for SGA. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you guys like SGA today? Not terrible. I mean, that you could actually stack him with the other Thunder props that we had there. That might not be a bad idea. We could definitely do that. But yeah, let's jump back into some more college basketball props. So this one's definitely interesting because Grant Foster has really just been going off. If you were to look at his game log, and I'll just pull that up here for you guys as well. Really just been going off fantasy score wise, but again, like playing a different team, a much slower paced team as well. So it's like you're looking at the last six. That's not going to be an appealing prop, but you look at a lot of those guys yesterday with Creighton. That was the case as well, and 2 out of the 3 hit, and kind of unlucky for Ryan Kalkbrenner to get over instead of under. So looking at the last 5 games, I feel like right now, especially, is more of a disservice. But it doesn't give you the warm and fuzzies. Like, I'm not excited to play that one. But that is the best one that's currently popping up fantasy score wise. Then we got points for Lander here for under 9.5. So this is what was weird yesterday. For whatever reason, guys, and I'll just click off a fantasy score real quick. These lines where PrizePicks did not adjust them yesterday seem to hit more frequently than the ones that they did adjust. So, you know, I mentioned a bunch, like I never, on the bet of the day, I never like to give out lines like this one, for instance, where you would assume that's going to be bumped down to 9. because they should. But PrizePicks really didn't do that yesterday, and all my best slips were ones just like that one. So definitely weird. I am a little bit nervous about Cam Jones for under his rebounds and assists at 8.4 with his projection. You can see the PrizePicks line is at 7.5. Not exactly one I'm excited to use. Same thing with like Lay D here, where if we could find these other ones where the projection data also correlates with the line like Polzin for under his rebounds and assists, 9.5. Like I'm much more inclined to use that one. And let's see. Hope that game's not live. I feel like I want to use that one on the Flex Friday bet slip here for you guys. I'm putting together. Yeah, we're good. We can use that one. I think. Oh, they bumped it down. They just bumped it down. Darn it. Still not terrible, but obviously we don't want to use that. Let's see here. Brandon Newman for over his rebounds and assists at 5.5. We can see the projection data like that 7.2. Let's see if that one's been updated as well. But this is what I mean. Like throughout the day, we're just going to be getting good prop bets that may or may not be adjusted. So right now, I feel pretty decent about this as a Flex Friday slip. If you just run out a 4 slip bet, decently good one there. Let's continue on. Any other good ones here? Mark Mitchell under 7.5. That's one that decently correlates rebounds and assists. I'm kind of fine with this, but that's the thing. We are getting a lot of good prop bets today, just in general. Real quickly, let's jump back into just fantasy score only, and then I'll see if we have any more questions coming in or anything. These are all okay. I'm fine with them. We did notice yesterday that the ones where the over fantasy score were, those were the ones that were popping. Those were the ones that hit yesterday, which kind of as expected. I mentioned this a few times now, where the under fantasy score lines, a month ago, 2 months ago, they were hitting at an insane rate, much more than the edge rating that we have on here. Whereas lately, they've basically been hitting at their expected range, which is about 54% or so. That happened again yesterday. But the over fantasy score lines have been hitting a little bit more frequently. So that's okay. Do want to call it with Donovan here, where the data really likes this under. Don't bet it on PrizePicks, bet on Underdog. That's a very good bet on Underdog as well. So I did want to call that out as well. With that, let's go ahead and jump into Underdog real quick. While that's loading, I'll see if we have any questions coming in as well, comments and whatnot. Yeah, there could be a blowout there, Jesse, for sure. I mean, I just like targeting Toronto just in general. I mean, it's an easier matchup. You can expect, just if it stays close enough for long enough, it should be good. But yeah, I gotcha. Trey Jones just got bumped. That's great. I just so frustrated. Which employee is watching this video, right? Oh, that's annoying. Zach made the live stream. There we go. And then we got the all day with my man. I appreciate those comments every day on the video. I really do. It's simple, but it really does help out the channel. I do appreciate that. Cade Cunningham for over points looks decent. Let's take a peek. I mean, Cade Cunningham has been playing well. I kind of like this Detroit team later on in the season. I know they've been more fun. I'm a sucker for late season NBA, where I like kind of no-name players going off. So tougher matchups today against Boston was called out, but he had a tougher matchup against Miami twice. So I don't know if we exactly want to be using that. Let's see his assists. I know his assists he's been doing well. Like if I had to choose a prop bet, it would be his assist, but I just don't feel the need to use that one with him. Let's see. What are 2 good underdog picks? So there we go. Let's jump into underdog then. So right now, guys, I do have the prop line differences in there. Let's start with that, but let's start with just fantasy score as well. Because I do think that's worth calling out for fantasy score. So let's jump back into that. All right, let me just sort by that. So I do want to call. We are gaining a decent amount of prop line differences. So we can see right here, I don't want to touch Lendenberg. I think that's how you say his name. He has been someone that has been crushing. Now, was he crushing lately because it was the tournament, his conference tournament, or has he been crushing lately because it was easier opponents? It's tough to say, but he has been playing well recently. And so we can see the projection data actually likes the over. Now, that is a good bet on paper, and we are seeing that's a decent prop line difference. Like, I don't mind the idea of running that out. Same thing with House here, where we can see where the outlier is in the data. I'm fine with running these 2 out. From there, which other ones are we getting that are decent? I mean, Edie, you never know. He's a guy that can get a lot of blocks. Like this can end up being very much like Ryan Kalkbrenner, where yesterday was going very good up until like the last couple of minutes, and then he just crushed that over. So I don't know if I exactly like need to chase that, but we are getting a decent amount of big prop line edges here, fantasy score wise, as we typically do. Now, are we getting any where the over fantasy score is popping up? That's what I'm actually curious. And let's take a peek at that. And so I'm just going to sort by over. The over is based off of the Vegas line. So like right here, Tristan Newton. Okay. Yeah, this is actually a pretty good one, guys, for underdog purposes. So the reason I say that is because we know just based off the board I just showed you, underdog typically is higher in their fantasy score lines than PrizePicks than the average sportsbook line. That's just knowledge that we know. And so whenever we get a line like this, that stands out to me where underdog is lower than PrizePicks. Like that is kind of crazy. And so this is one where I really don't mind the over. It kind of stands out just because, again, they are never like that. They never give us lines like that. Another decent one, Emmanuel Miller for over fantasy score. That's okay. You know, not too many other strong ones there fantasy score wise, but we are getting a decent amount of them. And so with that, let's actually just take off fantasy score. And I actually want to take off turnovers and steals. I really don't care for those. And so let's get back into that. And then we'll take off fantasy score as well. And 3-pointers made. I don't care for that either. Okay, so we'll take a peek at these. And again, for whatever reason, we're just seeing a lot of the unders on underdog. It's just, honestly, do you guys think they do that on purpose just because of their name? I don't really know. It's just one of those weird things. But with that, like, yeah, we are getting a decent amount of good EV bets for underdog. And I do want to call it like these PrizePicks lines. Some of them are the freaking goblin props, just as an FYI. So it's not always the best to compare. Just as an FYI. So like, this one I can tell you that's a goblin line being pulled in to compare against PrizePicks. Now that's not the case when we use the PrizePicks cheat sheet. That's filtered out. Just an annoying thing that we have to deal with. So it's not even worth really having the prop line difference in there. But we are getting some okay lines here for sure. This one's kind of being favored as a push for Eric Gaines for under his assist. Same thing with Lady there. So I don't exactly like that. Here's a good one. We got two decent ones right here. Not great because they're under 54%, but decent enough. So if you guys want to use those, by all means, go for that. Are you going to add MLB to the cheat sheet? I'm going to add that. So I plan to have that up there for like the normal opening day instead of the games that are going on right now. There's just, I have to update it from what it was last year, basically, so that I showed you guys I added in sleeper, basically so that I can easier update the tool for sleeper. And I do want to call it like pick six is something that I just added into the site as well. So these are like the pick six props. Like that's another reason. Like I want to be able to just better implement stuff like that once they're made available. So I'm working on updating it from what it was last year. Now I know last year was pretty solid tool, especially in terms of hitting fantasy score. So that's something I don't want to lose out on. I don't want to rush it either. How do you feel about Sheed for over 3? So I don't know. I don't really like the 3-ball props, to be honest with you. Let's see what other prop bets are we getting for Sheed. I know his fantasy score, there's a decent prop line difference. Let's see. And these are going to be his underdog lines, just as an FYI. Let's see here. Any good overs for him? Not exactly. I mean, again, I don't really care for the 3-ball props, but what are the best good bets college basketball for PrizePicks? So I already kind of mentioned those. We'll just jump into that again real quick. We're getting a decent amount of good EV bets. It's tough to say like which ones are directly the best because we're getting so many good ones. So just fantasy score wise, these are those. We take out fantasy score. Again, I know some people can't use that. We're just getting a decent amount of good prop bets just across the board. Now, some of these have been updated. They'll refresh pretty much once I get done with this video, but did want to call that out. So we got Seth. What's up, Seth? How's it going? Got Reed. I know. What was that in regards to? Didn't catch that. But okay, so let's go ahead and just recap. I think for Flex Friday purposes, right now, I think I'm just gonna be okay with running out this 4 slip bet here, guys. Trey Jones over fantasy points. Still, I think that's a decent one. We'll see. Obviously, this is gonna be updating throughout the day. Don't feel the need to force any of these. We got Dort for over fantasy score, Giddy over fantasy score, and then Brandon Newman for over 5.5 rebounds and assists. I feel pretty good about those ones. We'll see with NBA. Do want to just jump into the discrepancies tab real quick as well. There was one that was popping up earlier, and we'll see if it's still there. There's a couple of tennis aces in there where, yeah. Taylor Fritz. Okay, so this shouldn't be happening, guys, for tennis. I mentioned this a bunch, specifically with aces. That it should never really be off by 1. I could see a half that makes sense, but we can see you'd want to bet the under for Taylor Fritz on PrizePicks, where you'd want to bet the over on Underdog at 9.5. What you'd be hoping for, obviously, is just 10. But that's a decent edge there. That really should not be happening. So I did think that's worth calling out. COD wise, we are gaining again a decent amount of prop line differences. I have no knowledge of esports. I just don't. Okay. But if you guys like any of those, by all means, run those out. Same thing with MMA. If you guys need to run any of those out, by all means, go for it. So with that, real quick, well, I'll touch on Sleeper again for you guys, and then I'll show you guys the Flex Friday slip. So if these are still available, by all means, run these out for the sleeper unders, or yeah, unders for the sleeper protected slip there. Those are seemingly good prop bets. And then real quickly, again, just jumping into the PrizePicks slip. Right now, this is what I'm looking at. This could change, obviously, throughout the day in terms of being good bets or bad bets. So just be checking the 9to5 cheat sheet prior to placing any bets, really. You can sign up at 9to5sports.com, available for $10 a month. If not, these are still pretty good prop bets as it sits right now. I do got to go, guys, though. I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys enjoyed the live stream, again, let me know in the comment section. I do appreciate that. Good luck today with all your brackets, NBA bets, college basketball bets, and everything. Appreciate you guys being here. Good luck today.